Hello and welcome to the Lady Sows. It's now the beginning of August, so we're into late summer. Still here, we've had no rain. We're now in our 7th week of no rain. So watering has been a huge challenge. But having said that, I suppose the thing about August is there's probably quite a big harvest time. There's lots of stuff coming over the next 4 weeks into the beginning of September. Be harvesting a lot of stuff. The tomatoes are starting to ripen. I've got all mine outside. There are things you've harvested, stuff that, I planted early in the spring. The peas are all finished. The runner beans are coming on. But it's not sort of the end of the story, really. This morning I was sowing my Japanese overwinter onions. They will be planted out in September. I'm going to be sowing some coriander here, just straight into the ground. Now, coriander's quite an interesting plant because it actually prefers much cooler conditions. So it will survive the winter, certainly here in South Yorkshire, if it's covered with fleece. So probably anywhere south of us will be the same, that the coriander will survive the winter. And it does it much better than it does in the summer, because the summer it just tends to bolt. I've got the sun, let me move a bit because the sun's there. So I've also sown some turnip because they are a cool vegetable. I've multi-sowed those. What else did I sow today? Chinese cabbage, chicory. Just trying to think if there was anything else. Spring onions. Spring onions are another thing that grow really well over the winter period. Very hardy. Spinach is now's an excellent time to be sowing spinach, and again covered in fleece. In fact, I don't think I even covered mine last year with fleece. I just put Enviromesh over it. Got 1 or 2 pickings over the winter, and then in the spring it just took off, and I had loads before it then went to seed. And funnily enough, I actually saved I saved the seed, and I grow a variety called Madania. And when it was ready for harvesting, I actually sowed a row of spinach, and they came up in 3 days. That just goes to show fresh seed, how well it goes. So hopefully they're coming along, and we'll have spinach later on. But so going to give you a little tour of where we are here at the beginning of August. So I'm going to start at this end. This is the top end of the site, or top end of the plot, and I'll just turn you around. Right, so stand up. This is the dahlia bed. It's not. My husband comes up here and picks them regularly. So although it doesn't look like there's a lot of flowers, he was here yesterday picking. We've got some cosmos here on the end, and some calendula down there, which are looking very pretty. I like that apricot coloured one. I didn't pick any of the artichokes this year. I've just let them go to flower, and boy, aren't they pretty. The bees love them, although it's quite windy today. The bees absolutely love them. But I just think that's such a beautiful colour, that purple. So I don't regret letting them go to flower this year. Here I've got Greek soup beans, and you can see I've got some on the plants here. These are like a butter bean. They won't ripen until October, so it's always a bit of a challenge here. I think the runner beans this year have struggled a bit, and I think because of the hot weather. They do need a lot of water. So I've had lots and lots of flowers, but not necessarily lots and lots of beans, but they are beginning to they are beginning to come because the weather has started to cool down a bit. Certainly up here. I know where my daughter lives in the south, I don't think it's cooling down so much. This is it's supposed to be a giant pink banana. It's not looking very giant to me. Winter squash. The rhubarb has struggled with the lack of water, and I have had to water it. I've got one there. I must cut the seed head off. It's obviously been a bit stressed. So, hopefully next year I'll be able to pick some. I didn't, as I said in previous videos, because it was only 2 years old. In here is my grow tent where I was growing peppers and chilies. I think the chilies have been kind of swamped by the leftover tomatoes that I had. I need to get in here and sort this out. I've got some red ones there that need picking, I see. And this is where I had my giant onions that all bolted. But I've got quite a few peppers now, different varieties. They're all sort of, these ones are looking fantastic. There's actually some ready for harvesting here. What's this here, this little one here? That's actually a sweet pepper, but it's actually quite small. So I've got this irrigation system. Can't see any water coming out of it, so I need to have a look if I've actually switched it on or switched it off. But I have switched it on. Mr. Mole's been in here, so I've got to sort that out. I see a nice, as a result of Mr. Mole digging around, I've now got a weed in here. The cucumber at the back there, fortunately, hasn't produced any cucumbers, because at home I've got more cucumbers than I know what to do with. So I really need to come in here and sort all these tomatoes out, because it is like a jungle in here. My main crop potatoes in tubs are hopefully doing okay. I got a good crop of second early potatoes from tubs. I've got borlotti beans coming on here. I didn't think I was going to get many, but in fact they've now really taken off. I tend to alternate between borlotti beans one year and red kidney beans from seeds that I saved myself. Not perhaps the crop I would like, but anyway, it is what it is. The runner beans, they took ages to set, but now I've harvested quite a lot of runner beans. Really pleased. I was only here yesterday harvesting runner beans, and already it looks like I've got a few more that I can pick. So they're growing, I mean, before your eyes really. I mean, look at this lot in here. If you can see them, if I can focus the camera. So yes, pleased with those. Except for those few that I've got in that tent. I've grown all my tomatoes outside. These are all the paste tomatoes, Roma, and I can't remember what, there is another variety in here, but I can't remember what it is. I'll look it up and I'll leave a note. And then I've got all these cordon tomatoes, and I think I've never done this before, growing the cordon tomatoes outside like this. I think I need better stakes, because they are heavy, and I mean, look at the size of that truss down there. I mean, they're heavy, and I think the tomato plants or the stakes are struggling to hold them up. I had to put another one in here. So gradually they should start to ripen now. They do take longer to ripen when they're outside than they do when they're undercover, but I just don't have the space, so they had to take their chance, and hopefully I'll get some red ones off them. The raspberry bed is not doing very well. I think it's as a result of me not watering it enough. It kind of got neglected a bit from watering. It's just that so much other stuff needed watering. So these are my swede. Again, not doing particularly well because I haven't watered them enough, so I should be giving them a bit of a drink today while I'm here. More main crop potatoes in here. I've cut back all my strawberries, pinned down some runners, and I shall be covering this bed with manure to that'll be it then, sorted for the winter. I've left a couple of strawberry plants, you can see, because they did have some strawberries on, but I expect the birds have eaten them. And then I've got some more swede here, which are doing slightly better because I watered the strawberries, they kind of got a bit more water. I think the ones over the other side compete a bit with both the raspberries and probably the fruit cage. This is the asparagus bed. Yeah, least said about that the better. It's just full of weed, thistles that I must deal with. I've got under here, I've actually got some spinach, which my friend grew, and she gave me, and I put it under here just more than anything else to give it some protection from the pheasants. But I think, yes, it also needs a bit of a water. It's probably a bit warm under that thermocrop. And then here I've got red cabbage. Yes, my nemesis, red cabbage. And I've tried all sorts of different varieties of red cabbage. I can grow green cabbage. I grow the most wonderful green cabbage, but I just cannot seem to grow red cabbage, and I love red cabbage. Oh, I forgot to show you the tubs. I've got one here with flowers in. It's got all sorts in there, and a sunflower. And there was this one up here. This one I've got some zinnias. Look at this beautiful sunflower. It's a teddy bear sunflower. And then I put in some gazanias, more zinnias, and some marigolds. Under this net is parsnips and carrots, and I've been harvesting the carrots gradually. I've not been happy with my carrots this year. I'm hoping the next lot, which I'll show you in a bit, are going to be better. In this bed, I grew French beans in between the Brussels sprouts, and it's worked, except I don't like the beans. They're a flat bean, and I found them a bit on the stringy side, so I've decided to leave them. I'm going to let them go to seed, as it were, and then I'll be able to use the dried seeds. I've got two varieties of sprouts in here. I've got an autumn variety and a winter variety. And as you can see, I can get in close enough. I've actually got little sprouts coming on there, so I'm pleased about that. This little bare bit of ground is going to have some fennel planted in it today. Under this piece of netting, I've got some more parsnips growing. I don't suppose they'll grow very big. The sun's sort of shining on it all. And this was the spinach, you can see it, that I actually sowed. Let's see if I can get under the net. This spinach here, I sowed probably about 2 weeks ago, and it's looking fantastic already. It will soon be ready for a harvest of that. A small pick, because I pick it when it's quite small. You can't see what's in here. I have sown some coriander, and I sowed some turnips, but the turnips have not a single one of them has germinated. The coriander, some of the coriander's germinated, but I think the seed was old. I don't know what the turnip's excuse was, because the seed certainly wasn't old for that. Or at least I don't think it was, because I bought it this year. These are Autumn King and Eskimo carrots under here, and this is another job I've got to do, is actually put hoops under this now and lift this, because as you can see, the carrots have pushed the netting up. Here's another one of my tubs with, this one's got a calla lily in it, which I think is looking really pretty. Such a pretty colour, that. This bed here is probably about ready. I can get the net off this. I had to keep the nets off because of the pheasants. Other people get pigeons, we get pheasants. It needs weeding, which I'll do when I take the net off. And then up at the end here, I've got some beetroot growing. This bed here, as you can see, has got absolutely virtually nothing in it. That's actually going to be my winter onion bed. And my plan for this is to clear it and then sow green manure so that it's got something growing in it, and then either plant the onions through the green manure, or just chop the green manure down and leave it on the surface and then plant the onions, because I don't want to manure this bed until after the onions are finished, which will be early June next year. So so that's the plan for that. I've got a big mixture of green manures, all frost tender, so that they will be killed off with any frost. So I haven't decided, will I grow the onions between them or will I cut them down? So I'll make a decision at the time. Sown the onions today, they won't be going in until September. On this side I've planted some winter or spring cabbages, or some cauliflowers and some calabrese that I had. We'll see what they do. It's a bit of an experiment to see whether they survive the winter. I'll probably have to fleece them. And then at this end I've got giant kohlrabi growing. My squash and sweet corn on this bed have done phenomenally well, but then certainly the squash usually does, but the sweet corn this year has done really, really well. I've got some really decent sized cobs. Let's get a bit closer. There we go. Got some decent sized cobs there. They won't be far off harvesting. The squashes, let's see if I can get around this way. The squashes, I've got a couple here. They've still got a bit to go. They won't be ready till the end of September into October. I've got another 2 over here. Oh, I've got another one there. That's 3. So I've got 3 in this sort of area. I've got some in the middle. So they've done really, really well. So I've planted field beans in October, cut them down in March, covered it with manure, and then these got planted out that first bank holiday weekend. That was the first really hot spell we had. I just think I'll show you this. This is a squash that isn't going to make it. And the thing about winter squash is that they will self-prune. So you never have to worry too much about having too many, because the plant will determine itself how many it feels it can grow. And I've been watering this an awful lot, this bed. I come along here, I've got some of my husband's sweet peas, which again he picked the load yesterday. I've put some labels on some of them because I want to save the seed. Well, I've got a Swiss chard there, a ruby chard there that's actually gone to seed. I've sown Swiss chard. In fact, I've sown it and pricked it out, so that will be probably planted in the next 3 weeks or so. In here I've got celeriac, one that's gone to seed, that's interspersed with leeks, and I will be covering this. 2 that's gone to seed. There's another one there that's gone to seed. And another one there that's gone to seed. I will be covering this with Enviromesh probably the second half of August. Though the allium leaf miner doesn't sort of start to come out until about September, I'm not going to take any chances. I've got red onions here, a variety called Magna F1, and I didn't think they were going to do anything. I mean, some quite small ones amongst them, but there's some decent sized ones as well. This plant here is Tomatillo. It looks a bit like a Phyllis plant, and I'm not sure if they are related. They might well be. Or Chinese lantern. This might be all part of the same family. And they grow tomato-looking fruits. This one is green and purple, and they're for making salsa, particularly used in Mexican cooking. Here I've got some beetroot that I seem to have sown forever ago, and it's been very slow growing. Again, maybe it's just lack of water, although I have really tried to water that a lot. So there's a few things that are going to need watering today. So I think that's a bit of a whistle-stop tour of the allotment, or perhaps not such a whistle-stop tour. I can see how long I've been recording. And there's just one thing, last thing I do want to show you, because I just think these have been amazing. This plant here is a chicory, that I planted, sowed about this time last year and planted out in, 3 or 4 weeks after that, and then harvested most of it through the early to mid-autumn. Then they got neglected and died off. So I cut them all out in the spring, and then they regrew, and then they shot up to go to seed, and they've had the most wonderful, these are really past it now, the most wonderful purple flowers on it. So whether I get any seed or not, I don't know. These look like, because that was the idea, for me to save my own seed from it. Anyway, if I could find a way to actually have them in the flower border, I would, because they've been absolutely amazing. Whenever the sun's been out, they've looked beautiful. That definitely is it now. I've got things to do, as we always have when we come up to the plot, and mainly watering. I don't think I've come up here once when not watered. There's some talk that we may get a bit of rain this week, but I'm not holding my breath, to be honest with you. Anyway, that's the way it's looking at the beginning of August, and hopefully I'll be back in September, and it all will have changed an awful lot by then, I would have thought. Anyway, thanks very much for watching, and I hope to catch you another time. Bye for now. Bye.